This is not Chelsea of 20 years ago, says Mauricio Pochettino, quite assertively, somewhat angrily. Yo, what's poppin', people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that Chelsea slapped up Aston Villa yesterday in their own yard in the FA Cup against their first choice team. They are, of course, the second best team, I believe, in English football at home this season, and Chelsea went there and tore them apart, really. Pochettino took the opportunity afterwards to talk seriously about the Chelsea project and where we are at the moment. We're going to reflect on that today and maybe speak a little bit more about individual superstars like Enzo, Fernandez and crew. Thanks for joining me, guys. We are closing in on 180,000 subs, which is an incredible milestone for me. So thank you to those of you who decide to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell if you do. Thanks for liking the video. And also, just take a second to check this out. I'm delighted I'm still partnered up with the VPN Surfshark because it's the best virtual private network about. That's right, it's the best. It gives you access to so many different servers in so many different countries. And that's what's important with a VPN. If you still are not using one, or if you're using an inferior one, this is your chance to get Surfshark, guys. Additional security on the World Wide Web by protecting you from those fraudulent data pirates. When your internet's location is moved elsewhere, the baddies can't find you, but also you can unlock previously locked media. Ha! The internet thinks it's got you by locking you away from certain videos because you're not in the right country. Just use Surfshark to move over to that country in literal seconds and unlock the media. This is why I'm partnered with Surfshark. I want to let you know what I use it for. Staying safe and unlocking media is my bag on Surfshark, and I have the opportunity to do this on Netters as well. That's right, I watch a lot of Netflix like all millennials and Gen Zs, and actually everyone on planet Earth. And again, in the click of a button, you can move over to another country on Surfshark and unlock that country's Netflix library. Ooh, loads of extra media. Yum, 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 yum. It's a super easy to use application. It's really, really fast, and it offers you so much here in your internet digital age experience. Fortunately, because you're a viewer of my channel, when you sign up to Surfshark and use my code FOOTBALL, you can get an additional 3 months free. That's correct. Use my code FOOTBALL or simply click the link in the top of the description to get an additional 3 months free on Surfshark. Check it out now, mate. Brilliant stuff, sensational deal. Alright, let's get into it. So, of course, Chelsea did smash up Aston Villa 3-1 yesterday. Could have been 4-1 to Chelsea. Of course, we conceded a goal that was post and in from Diaby that Petrovic couldn't really do anything about. But the prevailing narrative is Chelsea played like a team. Chelsea played really well. They believe in each other, and Pochettino took the opportunity afterwards, post-game, to talk about the Chelsea project generally. Of course, Chelsea understandably and quite rightly have been receiving a lot of criticism of late. If you want my unfiltered, raw, organic and instantaneous reaction to that Chelsea victory, which I suggest you go check out, do go watch the previous upload and my complete breakdown and my match reaction. I was feeling good, confused, but good, because a little reminder, Chelsea were not favourites to win that game. We were coming off a 4-2 loss at home in our own backyard against Wolves, whereas granted they were playing against Sheffield, they got a 5-0 away win. Aston Villa, they themselves are one of the form better teams in the Premier League this season, and I think it's just behind Liverpool, their home record, in second place, so they are incredible at home. And of course, Unai Emery played the first choice, amazingly strong starting 11 of Aston Villa. Everything was against us. Chelsea are a club in crisis. Pochettino is on the ropes. The players are underperforming. Everything's burning down. But out of nowhere, Chelsea shocked the world and put in a great performance with good players playing as they should be. Or should they be? Pochettino took an opportunity in his post-match presser and was quite passionate and assertive with where Chelsea are. And he kind of said, look, it's easier to say this when you win. The truth is, if you've got a message and something you want to convey to the football media at large, if you're losing, it doesn't always come across well, but if you say it after a good performance, you can utilize that opportunity to really assert the message that you want to tell the people out there. Now, people might not like it because it's not the most Chelsea thing, but he needs to say, look, forget about it. We're not Chelsea of 20 years ago. You need to drop it. It's done. Like, forget about it. Now, of course, people are going to be repelled by this, going, no, we're still Chelsea, we're really good. And I think what is trying to be said here by Pochettino is not, oh, we won't be good again and we don't have the expectations and we're not a big club. That all remains. But the truth is, Chelsea of old, the Abramovich era, we had, loads of captains on the pitch in the squad continually. Really accomplished players, high wages, assets. Like I said, the club was run poorly. We lost money all the time, but it was bankrolled by Abramovich and he didn't care. It was very much a plaything for him. So Chelsea would just buy superstar players in their prime, throw them together, big characters, and would win. Now, even though Chelsea have spent a lot of money, we've not spent money on accomplished prime players. We've spent money that probably could have got those players with the actual total spend, but actually we've invested in our future long term, which not only should bring that time of glory of players in their prime, but should also have it for longer and theoretically maybe win more. I know it's reductive, but he was literally like, these players are young. Do you know what I mean? You've got to chill, man. This is going to take time. And maybe when he's saying, like, this is not Chelsea of 20 years ago, he's saying, yeah, come on, guys. Like, this is here it comes. A project, a process. It's really hard to stomach when you've been underperforming for so long. And there are other teams and scenarios that you look to with, Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham losing Harry Kane, not having an amazing squad but playing really, really well. Yeah, you can always have like whataboutery and what ifs and comparisons, but the truth is Chelsea had such a top to bottom, decks cleared, loads of talented young players that aren't even accustomed to, relegation level teams in the Premier League, let alone the expectations of Chelsea. It's so tough, and he was using the, Enzo Fernandez example. Enzo, for like 2.5 years before signing for Chelsea, never had a rest because he was like in the South American League scheduling, went to Benfica, didn't have a rest, had 6 months immediately at Benfica, went to the World Cup, signed for Chelsea, didn't have a rest. The dude just kept playing football with the emotional roller coaster of going South America, Portugal, Qatar winning the World Cup, Chelsea record signing, like bang, bang, bang. Like, this is tough, bro. Like, this is tough. And it's not like the egos of a 28-year-old superstar that have won loads of trophies that can just wear it and carry it. These are young players with young families, young children trying to settle. Now, it is excuses, but it's an excuse. So Chelsea aren't the Chelsea of 20 years ago. And maybe we need a little reminder every now and again, but not reminder when we're losing. This is like the intriguing part of it. When we are winning, because when we lose, it just sucks. You're just watching something that doesn't work. We've all invested time and money for a lot of people in watching these games, in emotionally investing and just seeing it, losing and being emotionally affected. That's what gives football its value. The fact how you are emotionally invested. You don't want to lose that because then football loses its value inherently anyway. So you're allowed to, and you're supposed to be upset and, angry when we lose. So you could actually use these moments of success when perhaps you're not being reactive and all crazy, and you can go, actually, look at this guy, look at this guy, look at this guy, look at this guy, look at the expectation we've been putting on. Regardless, it's been an underperformance, and everyone top to bottom at Chelsea would admit that. But you can give them maybe a little bit of slack and see when they play like that. And they do care. Look at those celebrations. They do care. Everyone wants it to work. And I want to spend some time and talk about Enzo Fernandez now. Enzo has been largely good for Chelsea ever since he signed just over a year ago, especially considering for the aforementioned reasons of having all this, change and no rest, and the highs and lows and, World Cup. He was pretty consistent for Chelsea, but he did drop off form, like I explained yesterday in my complete breakdown, for a few months, maybe like a 3-month period. He dropped off and he just wasn't playing well. He, of course, won man of the match yesterday, and that he probably would have won it anyway, even without that superstar free kick goal. Maybe that tips over the edge. I think Nico Jackson was also excellent. But of course, we all saw the celebration. He took off his shirt, and maybe if people, rival fans probably would have thought, chill out, mate. I mean, it's a great goal, but, you haven't done a Messi World Cup thing. But there was a reason to it, of course, the message of him holding it up, pointing like sort of to the grass, not like I'm signing for Aston Villa here at Villa Park, but more of a retort, a retaliation, a response to these incorrect, false rumours that have been circulating that he regrets signing for Chelsea and is actually looking for an exit, which is really important, I think. And something I wanted to speak about was his agent coming out and then commenting, actually, no, this isn't true. Not only that, when Chelsea spoke to us, when they pitched the project to us, they explained, and get this is going to be a 1 to 3 year project before it settles and comes together. So they did the math, Chelsea, and this is probably why they're not freaking out massively, because they're like, this is the window we're allowing for here. And they probably looked at some performances from Enzo, you know, the opening performance of the season against Liverpool when Jamie Carragher was like purring over him when we probably should have beaten Liverpool that day. But also, of course, away at Villa Park yesterday. He's shown that he can do it, that he's got incredible quality. But the project will take time to settle. And it's a sickening word. We hate the P words, don't we? All the P words, process, project, and pure profit. They're like the 4 evil words of this Chelsea ownership that we just don't want to hear anymore. But, you know, it's where we're at, I'm afraid. But it's really interesting to hear that his agent was like, yeah, 1 to 3 years. So, of course, we've completed a year now. So this is the minimum requirement. And, yes, we're mid-table in the Premier League, so that's not good. But we remain in both cups, including a cup final. Like, my word. And if we somehow, I mean, I don't think, you know, there's a very strong chance we won't win either cup, of course, but if somehow we win the FA Cup and the League Cup this season, what a strange and peculiar and probably most Chelsea season this would be. Of course, winning the FA Cup qualifies you for the Europa League, so in many ways that's sort of job done. It's prestigious, the FA Cup as well. It's a really prestigious trophy, so winning that, getting into Europa League, which is like top 6 Premier League finish qualification, that's good, you know, that's really good. So we should aim for that. Of course, we've got Leeds at home away in the next round, and beyond, that gets you into the quarterfinals, I believe. So, you know, anything from there, you slap out one of the big boys, and we've already proven in Aston Villa, which are one of the big boys in Premier League football this season, especially at home. I mean, we've proven all season that we can give good teams a game. Of course, we did get touched up by Liverpool, but apart from that, we've held our own very well against good opposition. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that, the fact that Enzo's agent said that, and I want to finish a little bit on just how Chelsea approached that game. Of course, we saw an interesting front three. I still don't like Cole Palmer up front as a striker. I think it's peculiar. It's not really my vibe. I also think he gets more in his head, his finishing gets worse. But he can do it. And we might see it more and more, or because Nico Jackson looks so good on the left wing. Like, there's a discussion, I heard the guys on the London is Blue podcast speak about this, like, is our number 1 striker our number 1 left winger? You know, Nico Jackson. Of course, the left winger choices of late have been Mykhailo Mudryk and Raheem Sterling, and they both frustrate for their own reasons, of course. Whenever Nico Jackson's played out there, we've played well, actually. He works hard. I said in my complete breakdown, it's interesting because he makes striker runs on the left, but not runs in behind like you see those transitional left wingers do. Like, my examples would be that we know about Werner, Pulisic, and now Mudryk. Do you know what I mean? Into stylistically and how they play. He's more the way he holds his body. It's almost like he's central, but he's out wide. And he stays on side loads which is great against Aston Villa as well, with their offside trap being so high. He looks really, really good on the left side, and looks like he can get involved in the game a lot. And maybe our front three should be on form at the moment. Jackson on the left, Nkunku playing as a sort of de facto striker, and then Cole Palmer on the right. And then obviously Noni Madueke can feel very frustrated about that, because his last few games he's played very, very well indeed, and you can see the manager Pochettino really appreciates his development, like the way he sort of embraces him when he takes him off and speaks about him. Noni's really coming into his game, but maybe at the moment he's not a guaranteed starter. But on the left-hand side, I mean, we're blessed on the right-hand side playing Cole or Noni. And the left-hand side, we've got these big money players in Mudryk and Sterling, and neither of them are really convinced of late. So maybe you just play Nico Jackson up there. That's the attack. Of course, the midfield speaks for itself. It was amazing yesterday, those three, Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. Chukwuemeka will still be, hoping for his chance to be reintegrated back into the team more and more, probably as a substitute and the odd start when one of those three are in the red zone. Although, you know, Chukwuemeka will probably only play the Gallagher role. I can't see him. Maybe the Enzo role, but certainly not the Moises Caicedo role. Really interesting because, of course, there was like a few game period, 4 or 5 game period, when that midfield three looked formidable, perfectly balanced, and then just sort of fell off. But yesterday they reminded us that yes, it can work, and it's so important that you get a midfield balance right. That midfield three are between the ages of 21 and 23. You get that right, you build that for a long time. Of course, there's the ongoing story of Conor Gallagher's contract, which we're not going to speak about today. But yeah, if Conor starts scoring goals as well, like, you know, his agent's going to start negotiating even harder, you'd have to say, because he's got a few assists, he does the hard graft, he adds the old goal. Yeah, and then his claim is stronger and stronger and stronger. But let's go back even further on the pitch and talk about defence. Now, Georgi Petrovic is fine, man. We don't need to chat about him. You know, despite conceding those 8 goals in the previous 2 games, he didn't really do anything wrong, which tells you everything. It was the defence. Of course, we had the Bell Silva controversy. Thiago Silva's wife sort of cryptically asking for Pochettino to be sacked, it did seem like there. Response to that, he did have a talk with Pochettino. I wonder what was said. Probably like, look, you have to speak to her, this can't be happening. I know they actually can be very stern, the coaching staff with Pochettino. He was dropped for this game. I don't know if it was tactical. It looked tactical afterwards. Chelsea played a lot more. Look, I'm not one of those guys that have been like, I told you so, I've been saying this. And it's not just me as well. Liam Twomey of The Athletic has been saying it. You know, you be very gentle when you say this, because Thiago Silva is A, amazing, B, has been so good for us, and C, is proper Chelsea and a cult hero. But stylistically and profile-wise, I think Chelsea would do better without him, especially in a back four. Of course, he comes on in this game to play in the middle of a back three, which is his role. We signed him to play that role with Tuchel, certainly. Lampard signed him for a back four, ended up playing a back three. Tuchel came in knowing Thiago Silva, but, you know, completely from his time at PSG, was like, right, well, if we're going to play Thiago, we're going to have to play a back three. And that was 3 or 4 years ago now, you know, so Thiago's getting older and older and older, and now we're playing a dynamic, high-octane Pochettino system. You simply can't play him in the back four. I've been seeing it more and more and more. People don't want to talk about it. It is what it is, though. He's very good at sort of pointing around and looking disappointed in everyone, not doing what they should be, and that's probably true, the case that they should be doing those things, but you want fast-moving, dynamic centre-backs. Even like Virgil van Dijk, who's, you know, one of the better centre-backs in the world, is making loads of mistakes of late at Liverpool, and he's got away with a few. Of course, he should have conceded 2 penalties against Chelsea that he got away with both of them because he's been roasted on transition by younger, speedier players. We've got great young centre-backs. You know, I want Fofana and Levi long term, but the French guys who are slightly older profile collectively did really well yesterday. We've, you know, Chalobah, he may even stay. We'll see what happens with that. There's a lot of mobility there, and if we're gonna go gung ho, then yeah. But the frustrating thing is we brought on Thiago Silva and we conceded with a back three. So maybe that's just because it was a change of shape, but an interesting one to talk about. Anyway, there's so many talking points from that performance. I wanted to speak about it again here today on the channel. So I put it out to you guys. I want to know what you think. Please do comment down below. Thanks to all the new subs. We're so close to 180k. And yeah, do go check out my partner Surfshark. Click the link at the top of the description and sign up to get yourself on a VPN. It's good. All right. See you later. Peace.